Top stories for the hour. Muslim faithful in Addis hold a Thanksgiving ceremony. And poll research shows that Odinga is racing ahead as election draw nearer. Good evening to you all. You're watching at this news hour with the news. I'm Binyam Getane. Thank you for joining us and do stay tuned with the rest of our program. A Thanksgiving ceremony was held here today at the Grand Anwar Mosque. The ceremony comes after following the call made to the faithful by the Addis Ababa Supreme Islamic Affairs Council for a Thanksgiving Day to be held. Tigestir Nisa has compiled the following story.
It is to be recalled that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed urged the nation to count its blessings. Writing on his social media account, the Prime Minister said there's plenty more to be grateful about. The Premier also underlined the need to fall more on the appreciating side rather than engage in hostile grumbling to the point of neglecting our moral duties. Heeding to his call, the Council of Ethiopian Religious Institutions urged followers of Islam throughout the entire Ethiopia to conduct a 3-minute prayer of thanksgiving after Friday's Juma prayers. Prayers and supplications were made for the country, peace, leaders, and also Ethiopia today at the Great Anwar Mosque. Religious leaders during the occasion stressed that being grateful even during tough times would bring success to one's life and as a nation in general.
ባለፈው ከአንድ ሁለት ቀን በፊት ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትራችን ለሀገራችን ዱዓ አድርጉ
Allah gave us a number of issues that we have gone through as a country. We have gone through war in the pandemic, but we pulled through, thanks to our relentless prayers. And we now welcome the call made to us a couple of days back by our Prime Minister to conduct prayers and supplications. It comes at the right time and we are in a foreground ceremony of Thanksgiving here.
Participants of the prayer sessions noted on their parts that according to Sharia principles, being grateful is a very vital value.
ሁለቱም ነገር በጣም ትልቅ ቦታ ያለው ነው በሸሪዓችን አላህን ማመስገንም
According to Sharia laws, both thanking Allah and supplications are very essential issues indeed. Thanking Allah means we are created to act as His will. If we thank Allah, He would love and accept our prayers. If we give thanks about peace and love, we will have more peace and love.
ይወድላችኋል Allah ይቀበላቸዋል
ምስጋና መሰረታዊ ጉዳይ ነው ለምሳሌ
Gratefulness is indeed a fundamental issue that brings us together and helps us to reflect on our situations. I wish all of us a prosperous new year, one that is sustained by our grateful prayers.
ይሄንን አሁን በዚህ በሚመጣው በአዲሱ ዓመት
The Thanksgiving ceremony will also be replicated as the Seventh-day Adventist Church will conduct its own on Saturday, while followers of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church will follow suit on Sunday. Catholic and Protestant churches will announce their Thanksgiving schedules.
Ethiopian Ministry of Culture and Sports, Kajala Merdesa, and Israeli Ambassador to Ethiopia, Alelin Admasu, have discussed ways of enhancing cooperation between Ethiopia and Israel. During the discussion, Kajala said that the peoples of the two countries are interwoven in blood and history, stressing need to bolster such ties in multifaceted areas of partnership. Ambassador Admasu, for his part, expressed the need to establish a cultural center in Addis Ababa to help Ethiopian Jews in Israel know about culture and history of the country of their origin, Ethiopia. Finally, the two sides have reached an agreement to sign Memorandum of Understanding for cooperation in sports, culture, and art sectors. Meanwhile, a Chinese diplomat says China attaches great importance to strengthen food security cooperation with Africa. Talking to Walter Information Center, new head of Chinese mission to the African Union, Ambassador Hu Changuchu further said China has been providing emergency food aid to African countries in need. At the beginning of this year, China provided a batch of emergency food aid to Ethiopia Eritrea, Djibouti and Somalia in order to support them to cope with droughts. China not only supports African countries in alleviating the urgent need for food shortages, but also supports Africa's independent response to food security through China-Africa Agricultural Cooperation, he said. So far, Chinese companies have built over 10,000 kilometers of railway, up to 100,000 kilometers of roads and nearly 1,000 bridges and almost 100 ports in Africa, as well as numerous power facilities and industrial parks. China's financing support for Africa focuses on development and people's livelihood. Welcome back. You're still watching at this news hour. Now moving to another news story. A New Zealand's ambassador to Ethiopia expressed optimism that the initiative by Ethiopia to conduct peace talks with the TPLF will bring the desired results. The ambassador also expressed his dismay over the catastrophic challenge citizens in affected areas are facing with the effects of the war in the northern part of Ethiopia. Daniel Kasson has sat down with the ambassador and compiled the following story. Take a look.
The Ethiopian government has lately announced that members of the United Nations Human Rights Investigation Team can head to Mekelle, the capital of Tigray. The peace talks are meant to extricate the nation out of more than a year of war with the TPLF, the effects it has brought to neighboring states. Reflecting on the planned peace talk, New Zealand's ambassador to Ethiopia said the process should be encouraged for the good of the nation.
Look, I'm conscious it's easy to be critical. But I'm an optimist, and my question for the critics would be to say, if not now, then when and how? And we can either choose peace, which I believe is the most courageous path, or we can choose to sit in our corners and throw stones or hold our weapons. And I think the most courageous people are choosing dialogue and choosing that path that is letting go of their own selves and to find a way that is best for their community and also for their children and their children's children.
The ambassador also expressed his dismay over the catastrophic challenges citizens in affected areas faced, loading the support being provided to internally displaced people.
We, from a New Zealand perspective, we want what is best for Ethiopia. We know that conflict and war diminishes us all, and we're seeing conflicts affecting people globally, and we know here how much pain and suffering this conflict has caused on the people of Ethiopia. And for us, our encouragement has been overall to encourage all parties of the conflict to find that pathway towards peace. We're very pleased that the government has established their negotiation committee, and we're encouraging all parties to commission, to further that forward. We're also very pleased that there's been the interministerial task force established to investigate allegations of human rights abuses, and we look forward to that being the mechanism to, alongside some of the other efforts, to deliver accountability and transparency on those abuses.
The ambassador has also extended congratulatory message to the Ethiopian public over the glittering victory achieved by the Ethiopian athletes in Oregon.
Long history of success, so something Ethiopia can be really proud of, and certainly we look with pride at what Ethiopia has been able to achieve, and your runners, the 4 gold medals that were just they're well deserved. And you know, I'm sort of looking forward to the next Olympic. We hope that Ethiopia comes back with even more gold medals.
Sitting in the quiet VIP room at the Kigali Convention Center, Rwanda, former Ethiopian Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn has many reasons to be optimistic, says an article posted on The Standard. Hailemariam, a former PM who hailed from Boloso Sore district of Walaita Zone in Southern Nations, Nationalities and People region, is at the IUCN African Protected Area Congress, an event attended by over 2,000 delegates from 52 African countries. The former Ethiopian leader has become a conservation champion, a marked departure from the rough and tumble life as a politician. According to The Standard, besides rethinking the financing model, Hailemariam says it is time to put Africans at the heart of protecting biodiversity to decolonize conservation. He says those who established parks in Africa did so not to merely conserve, but create a playground for the global north. ETV English invites you to read the rest of the story. In other domain, Algerian ambassador to Ethiopia reaffirmed his nation's commitment to scale up cooperation with Ethiopia in various fields. Talking to ETV English, the ambassador Salah Francis underscored that the two countries are set to sign numerous cooperation by the end of this year. Goshu Meleso has compiled the following story, and let's take a look.
Ethiopia and Algeria have enjoyed a long-standing relations with the ties between them steadily growing since the establishment of diplomatic relations in the late 1960s, and particularly following the opening of the Algeria embassy in Addis Ababa in 1976. The two countries have steadily strengthened a relationship based on their common interests. Ethiopia also opened its embassy in Algiers in 2016. In 2021, Minister of Foreign Affairs Demeke Mekonnen conferred with Algerian Foreign Minister Ramtane Lamamra, vowing to strengthen bilateral relations.
Ethiopia and Algeria, and we are building up every day and step by step. We have very good political relations, and we are trying right now with the AFCFTA, which is the African Common Market, to build our economical relations and the integration, not only with Ethiopia, but all the continent itself.
Addis Ababa and Algiers are connected through air transport to expedite the economic integration between Algeria and Ethiopia.
It's important to open as soon as possible a permanent air link between Algeria and Ethiopia, joining the two capitals, Algiers and Addis Ababa. This is the main tool we can use to let our businessmen from each part get in touch, travel to Algiers, and from Algiers to Ethiopia to discuss and to improve and to make some progress in our economical relations.
The ambassador announced that Algeria and Ethiopia is set to sign various cooperation agreements by the end of this year.
We are preparing for the fifth session of the joint session committee of the bilateral cooperation, which will be held in Addis Ababa, we hope before the end of that year. We are working seriously, and we are preparing draft MOUs that will be signed at that occasion in many fields, in agriculture, in higher education, and scientific research, in judiciary, how to help each other, in industry, and all fields, in energy.
Sileshi Gazanya Barra Barasi Biran Adaref Fatuma Martin Dibabas Kanuma Sena Million Abarra Masara Davar Fagama Sena qananiisaas dabalee fayyoo leellisaa saba falee Ibrahim Jehilaanii fi Hagos bosinnat garramoota tokko cimsuu dhadhaloo taadhufu warqeen dadhabbiidhaan kan dhufu
Welcome back. You're still watching at this news hour. Another story. Ethiopia's new ambassador to Zimbabwe, Rashid Mohammed, held discussion with the Ethiopian diaspora community in Harare, according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ambassador Mohammed exchanged views with the Ethiopian community on matters related to protecting the interests and rights as well as the overall situation of Ethiopian community in Zimbabwe. He also briefed the community on the temporary relocation of the mission in Harare to Addis Ababa due to COVID pandemic and financial constraints. The political ties of the two countries continued growth and they are ready and committed to elevate the economic cooperation for the benefit of the two peoples, the ambassador elaborated. In our business segment, an economic expert attributes current crisis in the Ethiopian economy to a combination of domestic and international factors. Saying that these factors are seriously affecting the Ethiopian economy, the expert said the government should press ahead with easy debt burden. Talking to ETV here today, the expert pointed out that irrigated wheat production must be utilized in this rainy season. Johannes van Town has compiled the following story.
Ethiopia's economy has been undergoing reforms for the past 4 years. However, international and domestic problems have become stumbling blocks to growth. According to economists, the country's economy has been challenged due to international and domestic happenings as well as the vulnerability of the economy.
America-China trade war.
The US-China trade war, COVID-19 pandemic, the war in Ethiopia as well as the one between Russia and Ukraine, the existence of an exorbitant debt burden are heavily leaning on the Ethiopian economy, as if structural problems are not enough. These factors have exposed the society to a host of issues.
The experts said a lot remains to be done in the field of irrigated wheat production since it helps ensure economic independence.
As a nation, we can withstand external pressure through food self-sufficiency. To date, over 25 million people are starving, and by encouraging self-sufficiency, I am not dismissing external aid altogether. Ethiopia imports more than 200 million metric tons of grain every year. The gap between food supply and demand in Ethiopia has reached a whopping 30%. This is evidence enough that nothing comes first other than food self-sufficiency.
Damascus Rusan American international investment consultant recommends a proper understanding of the potential of agriculture for Ethiopia's all-rounded growth.
By adding jobs from the agriculture sector, the potential is massive. You know, when we look at agriculture, we don't judge it against a banker. We don't judge it against a lawyer. We take agriculture for what it is. It is a way to put food on the table so that everyone can eat. It's a way to make sure people are employed collectively, so they're producing as a unit. We believe that we can solve some of the issues in the country by applying that model.
And the Ethiopian Airlines Group, the flag carrier of Ethiopia, has upsized 4 of its A350-900 on order to the largest variant of A350 family, the A350, and 100, becoming Africa's first customer for the aircraft. The largest airliner in Africa has already ordered 22 A350 and 900, of which 16 aircrafts have been delivered, with A350 and 1000 upsizing. Ethiopia's airlines backlog consists of 4 A350 and 1000s and 2 A350-900s. Group CEO Mesfin Tasso said Ethiopia is a technology leader in the continent, introducing the latest technology and fuel-sufficient fleet into Africa. He expressed hopes that the upsizing will be instrumental in satisfying the increasing demand of customers in our vast global network across 5 continents. The A350 and 1000 will increase the East African carrier capacity, and it will be an additional to its modern wide-body fleet.
The Ethiopian government has taken the initiative in the conflict in the northern parts of Ethiopia via peace talk. What do scholars and other stakes say about the peacemaking process? ETV English brings fresh and detailed stories on this and other current affairs this July. Ethiopia has launched the 4th and final round of the Go Green campaign meant to create a resilient green economy. Ethiopians from all walks of life are busy planting seedlings, which in a week must be reached 20 billion. ETV English will bring you stories and insights regarding the campaign this July.
Moving to African news, Kenyan presidential candidate Raila Odinga remains the most preferred presidential candidate, TIFA Research has said. In poll results released on Friday, Raila is ahead with 46.7%, while Kenya Kwanza William Ruto is second with 44.4%. Ruto's party George Wakajoha comes in third place with 1.8%. Meanwhile, the current Vice President William Ruto is one of the candidates for the August 9 election, heating up the race with his manifesto. Let's take a look.
The presidential race is heating up in less than 2 weeks until the Kenyan general elections. The main opposition candidates, William Ruto and Raila Odinga, are multiplying campaign meetings to secure voters as opinion polls suggest tight results. Ever since Deputy President Ruto unveiled his manifesto at the end of June, he has pledged to tackle the cost of living and transform the economy to create jobs.
His manifesto is also something that seems to have a lot of traction with a number of Kenyans. It is focused on what they call bottom-up economics, which seems to focus primarily on the lower echelons of the social pyramid. So seeking to uplift the conditions of the average Kenyan.
55-year-old Ruto has been in the government since 2013 but lost Uhuru Kenyatta's support 4 years ago, which went to his rival Raila Odinga.
He too knows a thing or two about how Kenyan politics is run and conducted, how government operates. So that's why I suggest that win or lose, this country is still likely to see much more of Deputy President William.
Despite his commitments and popularity, Ruto is not spared from corruption scandals. His running mate Rigathi Gachagua was ordered to pay back 1.7 million euros of public money on July 28 after being found guilty of embezzling.
And now a recap of the top stories. Muslim faithful in Addis hold a Thanksgiving ceremony. And poll research shows that Odinga is racing ahead as elections draw nearer.